right, this meeting for the Littleton Liquor Licensing Authority come to order. Would you call the roll, please, Rochelle?
Authority Member Gallagher?
I'm here.
Authority Member Radish?
Here.
Authority Member Cole?
Here.
Authority Member Dunya?
Here.
Authority Member Clark? Authority Member England?
Here.
Authority Member Odom?
Here.
Okay, we have a full house, so we have a quorum. The two alternates will be able to ask questions, but will not be able to vote on any matters here this evening. Can I get a motion to approve the minutes of our last meeting?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Anybody opposed? It passes. A message. Can I get a motion to approve the agenda?
I make a motion we approve the agenda.
Second.
All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? And that passes also. Okay, first order of business, item 7A, findings of probable cause of liquor code violation, scheduling show cause hearing for Bubby's Cafe, LLC, doing business as the Gorilla Room at 5654 South Prince Street.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Arnie Shaughnessy. On the show cause hearing, a brief synopsis of the facts. At the business stated by the chairman, on March 13th of this year, approximately 0200 hours, Officer Strong was dispatched to the Gorilla Room. He arrived and spoke to a bartender named Marcel Mendelfick, and the bartender informed Officer Strong that there was an intoxicated person in the bar. Officer Strong went over to that person. His name was Gary Marshall. Marshall was visibly intoxicated, could barely speak at that point. In fact, as Officer Strong attempted to conduct an interview, the person, Mr. Marshall, started throwing up on the floor and on himself. He crawled around a bit, hit his head on the floor, and Littleton Fire and Rescue had to report to make sure he was okay. The PBT result, which is as the board probably knows, the portable breath test result was well over 0.2 at 0.226, and so then Mr. Marshall was then transported to Swedish Hospital for treatment. The bartender reported that he had been in the bar for quite some time, since 1900 hours, and so about a 5-hour period, and only had 6 vodka drinks to his knowledge. However, because of the extreme visible intoxication, Officer Strong did write a citation, and the possible Colorado Liquor Code violation is under 1247-901, parent 1A, and the Littleton Municipal Code ordinance violation of 3-2-10F, which is serving to an intoxicated person.
Thank you, sir. Any comments? It appears to be pretty cut and dried. We probably need to talk to these people, so I will entertain a motion to bring them in for show cause hearing.
I make a motion that we call in the owners of the Gorilla Room for a show cause hearing in our
Second.
May authority meeting.
Would you poll the authority, please?
Authority Member Gallagher?
Yes, I agree.
Yes.
Yes.
Authority Member Dunya?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. We have something to do next month. Item 8A on the agenda, liquor license application hearing, a new hotel and restaurant application. B.B. O'Reilly's LLC, doing business as B.B. O'Reilly's Grill and Tavern at 1500 West Littleton Boulevard, space number 120.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman, members of the authority. My name is Alan Dill, D-I-L-L, registration number 872, representing the applicant, and we're prepared to proceed at your pleasure.
Okay. Welcome, Mr. Dill.
Do we need any of the exhibits?
Yeah, thank you.
I have the exhibits, most of the exhibits up here, I believe.
You have, just for the record then, I'll go ahead and enter them on the record, and then we have
Okay.
the additional exhibit of the public hearing roster.
Okay.
Exhibit A, the waiver of hearing and objection to process. Exhibit B, the affidavit of posting on premises. Exhibit C, the proof of publication. Exhibit D, the liquor authority communications with attachments. Exhibit E, echo petition information. And the final exhibit, F, Foxtrot, public hearing roster. And I will bring the public hearing roster to the authority, since I think that's the only one you don't have a copy of.
Okay. I'll entertain a motion to accept exhibits A through F at this time.
I'll make a motion we
letter A through F into record.
I second.
All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? No opposition. All right, Mr. Dill.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'll call two witnesses this evening, Mr. Max Scott, with respect to the petitions, the applicant, and as your file reflects, the applicant does have another establishment in your city. He's been in business 25 years total, never had a violation, but I'll go through all that in detail. I'll try and make it very quick. I'll start with Mr. Max Scott with the petitions.
Okay.
I can't remember whether you get sworn here or not.
No, we don't swear in this room.
I'll tell the truth anyway.
If you just state your name for the record, please.
Good evening. My name's Max Scott.
Welcome, Mr. Scott.
Nice to see you folks again. Hope to see you again soon.
Mr. Scott, did your company circulate a petition on behalf of the applicant?
We did.
And was that pre-filed with the city?
Yes.
And was this petition circulated in the same manner as all of the petitions that you've circulated in this city
Yeah.
in the last 20-some years?
Oh,
30
let's
years?
say 40.
40 years,
Yes,
thank you. Did you prepare a report with respect to the results?
we did.
And would you very briefly go through the report, and I'll skip over how you circulated it unless the authority has questions, and get right to the result.
Sure. On page 5 of the report, and I think all you folks have our copy of the report, which means page 5 should be in color, is it? I hope.
Yes.
So that's the defined neighborhood. We also had another map that was provided by the city, and on that map it has blue highlighted areas, which are the areas in and around the site location where the businesses were surveyed, and then the outlying areas to include immediately adjacent and then other portions of the neighborhood are in green. Those are the residents, and a person can sign for or against and write in any reasons they'd like to communicate to you folks. We have 95% in category 2, for, against, for whatever reason, favoring. That's exceptionally good for this survey category for an H&R. I should also remark that some people were familiar with the applicant's other outlet at 5151 South Federal, which is generally just west of there, about 1.5 miles, maybe 2 miles. So we have 35 businesses favoring, 0 against, and 141 residences favoring, 9 against. In the needs and desires category, which is our evaluation of needs and desires, in other words, we would have subtracted out commercial usage, objections, abhorrence of alcohol, that type of thing. The figure goes up about 3 points to 98% favoring. Both of them are very good survey results and show a need for a new hotel and restaurant license.
Thank you. I have no further questions. Tender the witness for examination by the authority.
Does anybody have any questions for Mr. Scott?
No.
Thank you, sir. I'm surprised it's only 95%.
Pardon me?
I'm surprised it's only 95%.
Well,
I thought the last one you did was 98 or something like that.
It must have been a safe way.
at least that's the last time you and I were here. So. All righty. Thank you very
May
much.
the witness
Okay.
be excused?
Yes, please.
Thank
Go
you.
ahead.
Thank you, Max. Brad?
Let me, got to ask you one question, if I may. You have a person in there that opposed, and under the opposed column, they said no. How did you count that?
If they didn't write in a reason, we would have put that in
Looking, sure what page that is.
no reason given 3. In other words, they didn't address needs and desires, so we put them in. If you look under category number 2C, 3, that would have been one of the 3 people that just checked no but didn't write in any reason.
Yeah, it's just confusion because do you favor it? Everybody said yes. Do you oppose it? You know, some people said no.
Oh, I see what your
But
question
I
is.
know one that opposed it. Person said, no, I don't oppose it, but they did it in the opposed column instead of saying yes, they favor it.
Let's count it in favor then.
So I wasn't sure. They also said it becomes a bar after 10, which I didn't understand either.
Well, that means they stop serving food.
But they don't stop completely.
Yeah, but they're a limited menu, right?
More questions?
Anybody else? Thank you, Mr. Scott.
Okay, good night once more. Yeah,
Are you-
thank you.
Fine.
Okay.
Please state your name and spell your last name for the record.
Hi, everybody. My name is Brad Brallier. Last name is spelled B-R-A-L-L-I-E-R.
And are you the applicant this evening through your LLC?
Yes, I am.
And very briefly, a thumbnail sketch of your experience in the hospitality industry, food and beverage business.
Well, I've been in the restaurant business since I was a teenager, so it's 20-plus years. Most recently, I have a business on Federal called Dewey's American Grill. Been in business over there for 6 years.
And that's in this city.
That is in Littleton, yes, correct.
And do you, have you also had an ownership interest in another hotel and restaurant license in the metro area?
Yes, that's correct. Dewey's in Highlands Ranch on Broadway and C470. That business has been there for a little over 8 years.
And you and a partner have operated those two establishments, but he isn't your partner in this venture?
That's correct.
And what is his name for the record?
Bob Knoll.
And in the two operations that you've had most recently that you've been owners in Colorado, Highlands Ranch and the city of Littleton, have either of those establishments ever had a liquor violation?
No.
And prior to owning establishments, did you manage establishments?
Yes, I did. Most recently, before I got involved with Dewey's, I was a manager at CB.
Speak into the mic, please.
Sorry. Most recently, I was a manager at CB and Potts on Arapahoe Road. Opened that store up and was the bar manager there for. I worked there for about 5 years.
And prior to that?
Opened up the Macaroni Grill in Cherry Creek as the bar manager of that place as well.
Fair to say that you've had a lot of experience in, especially managing bars?
Yes, I believe so.
And this evening, you're applying for a hotel and restaurant class license?
Correct.
Same as your other your other Littleton one and your Highlands Ranch?
Yes.
Obviously, then you'll serve full meals.
Yes, absolutely.
A little bit about this venture. Why in these tough economic times are you opening up another establishment, and particularly in this location?
I feel there's a need for a little community restaurant and grill. You know, just being over there right now, there definitely seems to see a lot of excitement for it. You know, the people within a mile radius, it seems to be there's a good need for it, and I want to provide a good service to the community.
And this is a smaller establishment than your others, a little bit smaller?
Yes, it is. It's 3,600 square feet.
And with respect to this venture, how are you going to finance it, or how much capital is necessary to start this business?
The total is $110,000. $60,000 of it is a loan and some money I put in, and $50,000 is landlord contributions.
And I know the licensing authority knows the address, but what's going on in that address and in that shopping center?
The shopping center right now is being revamped, remodeled. They're just trying to upgrade the center and make it a little more attractive for the neighborhood, and you know, I definitely wanted to be a part of that.
The licensing authority has before it a diagram of the premises, and it's outlined in red. Is this all on one level?
Yes.
And it's, as you stated, 3,600 square feet?
Uh-huh.
And as we look at the diagram, if we look at it straight on at the very top, what direction does that face? What street?
It faces Littleton Boulevard.
And obviously, we can tell there's a patio in the front. Is that correct?
That is correct.
And then just kind of walk us through the establishment. At the top of the diagram, we can see entrance. So just kind of walk us through and tell the authority what we'd encounter.
You'd walk in the front door, hopefully be greeted by a cheerful host or hostess. To your left would be the dining room area. And then if you kept walking to the right a little bit and went to the left would be the bar area. There'll be numerous tables, a bar area that seats about 12 or 14 stools, a pool table, and then as you walk on through to the back of the building, there would be a patio out back.
And is the patio out back, will it be enclosed by a rail or fence completely so you don't have ingress and egress?
Yes.
Obviously, there's a fire exit there.
That is correct.
And then the patio in front, you cannot, isn't it correct that you can't enter the patio in the front of the establishment unless you come in the front door?
That is correct. Yeah, everybody will enter through the one entrance.
I've got a question. The patio in the front, is it going to be open air or is it going to be enclosed?
It's going to be open air.
Okay.
And right now, you don't have a fire exit gate, and you don't know if that's final based upon the building department or fire department.
That's correct.
So there may have to be a gate there, but it won't be a gate that you allow patrons to come in.
No, just for an
I mean,
emergency.
just for exit only in case of an emergency, right?
Obviously, the entire public area of the premises is all visible from the bar area.
Yes, for the most part. There is a wall that separates a little bit between the dining room and the bar area.
And the dining area, approximately how many seats in that area?
I believe there's about 55, 56.
And what type of menu will you have? Lunch and dinner?
Lunch and dinner during the week, and then we'll offer a breakfast on Saturday and Sundays as well.
So what are your hours during the week and then on weekends?
During the week, we'll open up at 11 and stay open until 2 or 1:30 if there's a need. If there's no need to stay open that late, we will definitely shut down earlier. I'm hoping Friday and Saturdays, we're there till 1:30. And then Saturday and Sunday, we'll open up at 9, and Sunday close at midnight.
And obviously then Saturday opening at 9, you'll serve a full breakfast,
Yes,
Saturday and Sunday.
that is correct.
And on the lunch menu, give us a little sample of what you'll have on the menu, and then on the dinner menu and price ranges.
Okay, we'll offer the same menu for lunch and dinner, burgers, sandwiches, salads. We'll have a few Irish items, bangers and mash, corned beef and cabbage, shepherd's pie. The prices will range anywhere from roughly $7 for a burger up. I think the highest price item will be about $13.
Type of alcohol beverage that you'll have available?
We will have draft beer, bottled beer, spirits, and wine.
And how will you train all of your employees in the rules and regulations of the liquor code?
Well, we do definitely, before every shift, we stress the importance of, of serving alcohol, the importance of carding, the importance of monitoring people and not over-serving, as well as we will require all the staff to attend a TIPS or something similar to that, to where they are trained professionally.
So even though someone applies for a job with you and they have 10 years experience or 20 years, they are still required to be TIPS certified?
Yes.
And then you do your own in-house training once they're on board after they've been TIPS certified?
Absolutely. We definitely stress the importance and whatnot about, the consequences and how important it is to serve safe.
And you mentioned CB Potts. I know that the one on Arapahoe Road was very popular with young people. I assume that's where you were able to hone your skills?
Yes, it was a very busy bar when I worked there, and I learned a lot, and it was a
I
good
assume
experience.
you applied all of the things you learned there to your other two establishments? And
Absolutely.
obviously, you understand in the city of Littleton the requirements. If there's any disturbance, you call the police. I assume that that's what you've done in your existing locations if you ever have a problem?
For sure. I like to think we have a very good relationship with the Littleton Police. I definitely want the staff to encourage them coming in. We enjoy seeing them coming in. Very appreciative of them walking through.
And your policy with respect to employees, if they violate your rules?
They won't work for me.
Very good. Gather in these times that you have lots of applicants?
Absolutely, yes. There's
Kind of astounded at the number of people that have applied for, as you put it, your little restaurant?
Yeah, I did run an ad on Craigslist for an assistant manager and was very amazed at the applications I received.
So you're pretty comfortable you're going to get a really well-qualified kind of top of the pick there?
I believe so. It definitely makes my job a lot easier when I have the right people in the right places.
And in this establishment, you're the registered manager, and as I understand it, a new registered manager is going to Dewey's or has made application?
He has made an application. He's been the general manager of that store for, I believe, right around 2 years now, and he's applied and the transfer's in motion if it's not already.
And so this is going to be your full-time location. Obviously, you have other business interests, but this is the store that you're going to run yourself?
Yes, I will be there a lot, definitely.
Very good. There's obviously a lot of alcohol beverage establishments and licenses in this general neighborhood. I gather that you feel you can compete and provide something that nobody else is?
Absolutely. I wouldn't sign up for this if I didn't think it could be an asset to the neighborhood and be a good thing for everybody.
I gather then you feel there's a need for this license in the neighborhood and desire this authority to grant you a license?
Yes, please.
Thank you, sir. I have no further questions.
Okay, I have a couple of questions. You were involved with a Dewey's in Colorado Springs. What happened with that?
Yes, we opened up that Dewey's in, I believe it was April of '05 and closed the doors in April of '06. I think going into kind of an unknown market and I live in Highlands Ranch, being an hour away from the store, it was harder to kind of keep my eye on the ball down there. There were some other things. Intel was there, and they pulled a lot of employees out. Didn't realize it at the time, but parking was an issue. There were just some other things. I think if I could have spent more time there, it might have made it. Again, it was just probably a little bit farther than my comfort level.
Okay. And this police report comes back with a couple of incidents. And I guess my question is, do you have a current Colorado driver's license
Yes,
today?
sir. Yes, I do.
There's a question about an assault and domestic violence. How was that adjudicated?
I believe that was, when it's discharged or
Deferred judgment?
Was it deferred judgment? Yes.
And then the DUIs, or DWAI, I believe one of them was. You don't anticipate that happening again?
Absolutely not. Those incidents were bad judgment on my part, and I definitely feel like I've learned my lesson and will not happen again.
Okay.
When do you plan to open? What date?
As soon as I can. Hopefully beginning of May.
End of May. Okay.
Beginning of May.
Got a question about the storage. You've got dry storage and coolers off of the kitchen. Where are you going to store your alcohol at?
Most of the alcohol will be stored actually behind the bar. It doesn't show it, but the part of the bar that faces Littleton Boulevard, there is some cubbies up there that we're going to build some cabinets to be able to lock it. There's another storage area up front. You can kind of see in the corner there on the left-hand side of the diagram that is a locked closet that we were planning on storing alcohol as well in there.
Just to clarify, you have two patios. Are they both open air?
Yes, they are.
And the back patio has a exit.
Right now, it's fenced in. It does have a gate on it that we need to replace and get fixed, but we'll definitely get it up to fire code standards and make sure that it's addressed and what's needed is there.
I'm pretty sure they're going to want you to have an exit on that front patio also.
Okay. We'll
I don't know for sure, but I'm pretty sure they will.
Appreciate that, yeah.
Okay.
Do it now than later.
When you get up and running, how many employees you plan on having?
There'll probably be about 15 to 20 between full-time and part-time. I would imagine on a busy Friday night, there'd probably be about 10 people on staff, including the cooks and bartenders. And
Do you anticipate any live music or anything like that in the future? Just curious, not that it's a factor at all.
I've thought about maybe doing like a two-piece or single person maybe on Saturday nights, kind of a folksy, mellow Irish music kind of style.
Irish music.
Did you say the front entrance is what faces Littleton Boulevard?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay. What space is that? What was formerly in
It used to
there?
be, before I took it over, it was called the Neighborhood Grill, and before that, it was the Boulevard Grill.
Okay. That's what I thought it was. I just wanted to make sure I had the right spot in mind.
So, as I understand it, you're going to maintain ownership in Dewey's, both Dewey's, but you personally are going to concentrate on this restaurant?
That's correct. My business partner in Dewey's right now. We're in the process of splitting those two stores up. He's going to keep Highlands Ranch, and I'm going to keep the Littleton store. I feel I have a good team in the Littleton store now that they can, without me being there all the time, that they can operate it successfully, and I can focus here to get this one up and going and do its best.
Any other questions? All right, thank you, sir.
Okay, thank you.
I have no further evidence to present.
All right, Mr. Dill, thank you.
Set a record.
Pardon?
I didn't talk too much. Thank you.
All right. Any discussion, pro or con?
I think the petition says that there is a need in the area.
95%, so.
And
Do we have a recommended motion?
Yeah. On page 4. 3.
Right. Okay, I make a motion that the public hearing be closed and a resolution of the Littleton Liquor Authority be approved, which grants B.B. O'Reilly's LLC, doing business as B.B. O'Reilly's Grill and Tavern, 1500 West Littleton Boulevard, space number 120, Littleton, Colorado, a hotel and restaurant liquor license contingent upon approval from the Colorado Bureau of Investigation and the Colorado Liquor Enforcement Division and the Planning Department of the city requiring that exit on that front patio. And based upon the following findings of fact, that one, the needs of the neighborhood are not now being met, and that two, it is a desire of the adult inhabitants of the neighborhood that this license be issued.
second the motion.
Would you poll the authority?
Authority Member Gallagher?
I believe that's a good motion.
Authority Member Bryce?
Yes.
Authority Member Polk?
Yes.
Authority Member Dunia?
Yes.
Authority Member Clark?
Yes.
Okay. Congratulations. Hopefully we don't see you again. All right? Unless you open another restaurant. There you go.
Best of luck.
Good luck. Okay. Next item on the agenda, item 8B, International Marketing Corporation doing business as Fat Frog Cafe.
9A.
I'm sorry, 9A. Fat Frog Cafe, 2530 West Main Street, Littleton, Colorado.
On March 11th, the authority found probable cause to believe the establishment had
Could
violated...
you speak into the microphone, sir? Arnie, I'm sorry.
Yeah. That the establishment had violated the Colorado Liquor Code Regulation 47 TAC 900 Parent A, Conduct in Establishment, which provides in part, employees should not permit profanity, rowdiness, undue noise, or other disturbances. And Littleton Municipal Ordinance 3 TAC 2 TAC 11 Parent A, Parent 2, which provides in part, each licensed employee shall conduct its establishment in a decent, orderly, and respectable manner. We have exhibits, which the authority has been provided. Exhibit A, the proof of publication of hearing. Exhibit B, the certified letter to the licensee regarding the show cause hearing. Exhibit C, liquor authority communication with attachments for the show cause hearing. The authority has been provided with the attachments, which include Officer Strong's police report. With the consent of the authority, since Officer Strong is here and we have another witness, we could proceed to Officer Strong's testimony.
Okay.
I'll make a motion Exhibit A through C be entered into the record.
All right. Second? I'll second that motion.
Thank you.
All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? No opposition.
Thank you.
Officer Strong? Welcome. State your name for the record, please.
It's Officer John Strong, spelled S-T-R-O-N-G.
Officer Strong, the authority has been provided with your police report, but if we could go over it and turn your attention to January 31st of this year at about 02:30 hours. If you could explain to the authority where you were called to and what you observed at that premise.
Okay. On that date, that time, I was dispatched to 5646 South Crocker Street to meet with Daniel Griggs and Amy Rome. When I arrived there, I spoke with Daniel, and he explained that there had been a disturbance at the Fat Frog. He told me that there were two males sitting around the corner of the bar to his right, and the bartender called last call. He had laid a 20 down to pay for it. One of the younger of the two guys slid the 20 in front of him. Then Daniel slid it back in front of him and said, "Don't take my money." The guy said, "I didn't take my money." And then I think there was a couple more little slide transactions like that. And then this other person who I was later able to identify as a John Warboys came towards Daniel, and then Daniel told me that he hit John. He had a glass in his hand, and he felt threatened, so he hit John. And then they both went onto the ground and had a little bit of a scuffle for a minute or so, and then they both left. I never received any kind of a call from the bar. When I went to speak with Daniel, it was about 2:30 or so. That was the first that the police department had been advised of this disturbance.
Officer Strong, was there any injury sustained by anyone?
Daniel had a laceration on his right hand, on I think a finger of his right hand.
And when you arrived, was the bar closed or closing? Or?
The bar was closed, but there were still a couple employees inside.
Were you able to contact any employees?
I was, yes. I contacted the bartender by the name of Deborah Risch.
And you talked to her about this?
I did. I asked her what had happened. She told me that she was at the far end of the bar, the other end from where this disturbance took place, when she heard glass breaking. She came around the bar. She saw two males fighting on the floor. She said she broke up the fight and told everybody to leave. And then that's when I found out who the other party was, that John Warboys. She didn't know Daniel by name or know who he was.
Did you ask her specifically about contacting the police?
Yes, I asked her. Here. She told me that she just didn't call the police, and I didn't inquire as to why.
But she verified that the call had not come from the establishment?
Yes.
Okay.
She told me she did not call the police.
Officer Strong, the authority may have some questions for you as well.
I'm confused. You were dispatched to the location because of a disturbance, but they didn't report the disturbance.
I was dispatched actually to Daniel Griggs' residence on South Crocker Street. First,
Okay.
I met with him.
It wasn't the establishment that called, it was Daniel Griggs that called?
That's correct, yes.
Okay.
Okay. Any other questions for Officer Strong?
You never heard anything from anybody else about it? Nobody else called you about this disturbance?
That's correct, nobody.
Did you ever talk to John, the other person that was?
John Warboys, no, I did not. I found him in our computer system. I left a message. There was no indication that was actually his phone. It was just like a pre-recorded message. And I never got a call back, and I've never been able to contact him. I don't even know where he lives anymore.
The issue here is not the fight. It's the issue that the fight happened and they didn't call.
Right.
That's what our concern is. Any other questions for Officer Strong?
Thank you, Officer Strong. The city also has under subpoena Miss Amy Rome, who may be able to speak specifically about the fight itself, what it looked like, how big it was, if it was noticeable.
Okay.
Come on down. Thank you. If you could go there and state your name for the authority, please.
Hello.
Hi, I'm Amy Rome.
Yeah,
Little reverb there.
Not too close.
That's very good, Ms. Rome. They won't have to ask you to speak into the mic. Ms. Rome, I want to also turn your attention to the night. And you have a relationship with, that's your husband that was involved, or who are the people involved in the fight?
No, just friends.
Okay, friends of yours. And who was your friend that was involved?
My friend was Daniel Griggs.
Okay. And can you describe for the authority the situation and then what happened and what you saw and the gravity or, how loud it was, those kind of things?
Okay. We had been out earlier that evening. I was the designated driver. We had gone to an art opening, decided to stop at the Fat Frog, And we walked in, there was another friend of ours that was with us. We walked in, and this John Warboys, I guess that's his name, came over to one of our other friends, and was really kind of touchy-feely with him, and it was just a little bit strange. It was obvious to me that he was not just inebriated, that he was on something else. His eyes were blood red, bloodshot. He just was acting very strangely. So at last call, Daniel had put a $20 bill down on the bar. There was another guy, Daniel was here, I was sitting on the corner. There was another gentleman to our right, and then John Warboys over here. Somehow the $20 bill, I saw a hand come over and slide the $20 bill over in front of John. Daniel stood up.
It came over in front of you and
Yeah.
slid, yeah, okay.
Yeah, so.
Okay.
So Daniel stood up and said, hey, don't take my $20. Slid it back over in front of him. A couple minutes go by and we're talking, and it happened a second time. And Daniel said, that's my money, give me my money back. So he took the money back, and John stood up and just started screaming, what are you going to do about it, what are you going to do about it, and got really hostile. Then he was kind of in my face, and I said, hey, if you took the $20, just admit it and let it go. Everybody
sorry
goes
to
their
interrupt you.
separate ways.
Was this happening right at the bar there? Or
Yes, it was right over me, unfortunately.
Please continue.
So he, at that point, just became very agitated, and he just kept saying, what are you going to do about it? What are you going to do about it? And he was about this close to me, and so, I'm trying to get away from him. Then he stood up and came around behind me, took a running lunge at Daniel with his hands out, got a couple of hits in. I jumped up out of my chair and went up against the wall. The glass was broken. At that point, my bar stool that I had been sitting on was on the floor. My coat was on the floor. My purse was on the floor. And they were on the floor.
And where was the bartender during all of this?
She was on the other side of the bar. So several people jumped in to separate them, and then we left at that point.
About what time was that when you left?
This must have been right after last call, so I would say probably 1:45, I would estimate. And then I took Daniel back to his house. That was about it. I mean, he was pretty shaken up, so.
When you say the bartender was on the other side of the bar, could you tell me what you mean by that? I mean, was she directly across the bar from you? Was she down the bar?
No, she was down on the other side of the bar, so we were sitting at one corner of the bar. She was clear down on the other side. There's a
The other
dark
end,
door.
or
The other end.
she was behind the bar, though? Or was she out bussing a table or something, or?
She was right around the very corner of the bar, I believe. I just remember seeing out of my peripheral vision that she was on the other side.
Okay.
I mean, several.
I'm having a hard
Quite
time
a distance
visualizing this,
away.
but she was 30 feet away, 20 feet away?
Probably 20 feet away.
Okay.
Was she able to see, were you able to see her? Was she able to see you and see what was going on?
I don't think she saw any of what was going on.
Okay.
I mean, she was out of my range of vision at that point. I don't remember even seeing her until I was up against the wall trying to.
As
figure out
people
what was
were
going
wrestling on the floor, she couldn't see the disturbance?
Well, I mean, it happened pretty quickly. It was a matter of seconds before people were on them and separating them, so.
Okay.
The police report says that the bartender told the police that she saw two males fighting on the floor. She broke up the fight and told everyone to leave. Did you observe her breaking up the fight and telling everyone to leave?
She came over later, yes, but she was not the first person that was there.
But
there were several people.
She saw the men on the ground fighting, and she broke it up and told everyone to leave. Is that right?
Yeah, I think she must have seen some disturbance because there were probably 6 people that jumped on him to try and separate him. And then she ran over and, said, hey, what's going on? And we just picked up our stuff and said, it's time to go home. So.
Okay.
What we were trying to establish was that she actually did know there was a fight.
She knew that there was a disturbance, yes.
Okay.
Yeah, the details.
Even after the fact, she didn't know immediately in the few seconds that it happened, but after it happened, with everybody wrestling around on the floor, she figured out that there was some sort of disturbance. She got up and asked everybody to leave. So she knew there was a disturbance.
I would have to,
Eventually.
yeah, I would have to say yes. I don't know if she knew what the details of that were.
Yeah, details don't matter. She just has to know if there's a disturbance.
Well, when you say you broke up a fight, you had to be aware there was a fight.
Well, she told the police, quote, she came around the bar and saw two men fighting on the floor. End quote.
Okay.
How many people were there at the time?
Probably 8 or 10, maybe 10. I would say 10 people.
Okay.
It was end of the night, so it wasn't busy, at that point. But
Any other questions? Thank you very much.
thank you.
That's the city's presentation.
Do we have a representative from the Fat Frat?
Yes, sir, we do. My name's Brian Hedberg. I'm here on behalf of the
Would you please come up here and speak into the microphone?
Yes, sir. My name is Brian Hedberg. I'm here on behalf of
Would you spell that last name, sir?
Hedberg.
Berg. Hedberg, okay.
Yes, sir.
And did this actually happen in your bar? I mean, is this, or is this all completely fictional?
It's not completely fictional. There are definitely some disputes of fact. I would like to call Miss Roush, who was the bartender on the night, and Ms. Risch, who was the bartender that evening. I'd also, just as a preliminary matter, one of the things contained in the statute is over-serving. I don't think there was any issue here that the man was over-serving.
You're not here for over-serving.
Okay, just wanted to make sure that was clear. With that, I'd prefer to call Ms. Risch, if that's okay.
Okay. Hi, would you say your name and spell it for the record, please?
Deborah Risch, R-I-S-C-H,
Thank you.
Okay, Ms. Risch, and are you employed at the where are you employed?
at the Fat Frog Cafe.
You just heard this testimony. Were you working that evening?
Yes, I was.
Okay. Could you just give me a brief synopsis of this from your end of the...
Okay. Again, as it stated before, I had called last call. There were only a few people left into the establishment.
A few being
Like,
8 to 10?
say 6 and 7 with myself.
Okay.
Okay. I was actually on the phone. I was at the bar at the end towards the door is like this. I was at the far end of the bar.
Okay.
I was on the phone with a cab driver that had called to tell me that the two patrons that were there, that he was only a couple blocks away.
Okay, let me ask you this. Where is the phone?
It's a wireless phone. I mean,
Okay. Which way were you facing?
I was at the bar sits.
Did you see the incident?
No, I did not. I did not see the incident.
How did you become aware of it?
On the phone, as I'm talking to the cab driver, I heard a glass break. I turned my head. I saw the people standing at the end of the bar. I did not see anyone on the floor at any time. I got off the phone. I went around the bar, and as I was approaching the end of the bar, Amy, Daniel, and Dean were already exiting the bar. John Warboys was reaching down on the floor to grab the broken glass. I assumed that it was just an accident. I never saw anyone hit each other. I never saw anyone on the floor. So until Officer Strong showed up and knocked on the door, I didn't know that there was a disturbance, that people were on the floor fighting until he came.
Did you break up this fight?
No, I did not.
What was your role in did you have any role in breaking up the fight?
No, as I said, as I came around the bar towards the end, everyone was up and exiting the bar.
I would like to point out that the police statement states both Daniel and Amy. Daniel said he didn't know where the bartender was when the disturbance broke out. Amy said she didn't know where the bartender was at the time of the disturbance. So there's an error in the police report.
There's an error in the police report?
If the police report says that she said she broke up the fight.
It's not if the police report says. The police report says she, meaning you, came around the bar and saw two males fighting on the floor. Deborah said she broke up the fight and told everyone to leave. Deborah said that she knew John but did not know the other male involved.
Oh, I did not break up the fight, and I did not see them on the floor.
Did you tell Officer Strong that you did?
No, I did not.
So there is It is what it is. There's a miscommunication, there's an error, there's whatever, but there's a dispute. And I would also like to point out,
Well, if in fact you didn't see the fight and were unaware of it and just thought it was a broken glass accident, then there would be no reason for you to call the police.
And just to state that I do have a pretty good rapport with, I've been bartending 26 years. Never had a ticket. I am tip certified. I have no reason not to call the police.
have you ever called the police before while working
Yes.
at Pratt Farm?
Yes.
Couple questions.
Sure.
Do you believe that you're responsible for what takes place in the bar?
Definitely.
You believe you're responsible, or you should have known that the fight took place?
Yes. But if I don't, I mean, I would have not hesitated one moment to call had there been a disturbance that I saw.
Did you inquire as to how the glass got broken or what happened?
No, like, by the time I got around, again, it was time for people to already have left. And it was basically the only glass that was left that I hadn't already picked up. And when I looked over and John Warboys was like picking it up, and he's like, "I'm sorry." And I thought it was just an accident. I said, "It's okay, I've got it. It's time to go." And he was the only one left
Did you see blood on John?
on the hand right here.
But you didn't see a cut on his forehead either?
No, I did not.
So he could have cut his hand just by breaking a glass.
That's what I assumed.
Okay.
I have one question. Would there have been anybody else for you to ask? I mean, it sounds like John Warboys was the only person left for you to ask a question of. Was there anybody else?
Not at that time, no.
Okay.
My husband came later to pick me up, so when Officer Strong came, he was there, but he didn't come until afterwards.
There was an indication that people, and I don't know how many people it is, left the bar all of a sudden.
Well, like I
Closing
said, the
time.
two other people that were waiting for the cab were heading towards the door, because I indicated to them.
Now, the two other
cab-
people, they haven't been mentioned in this
I
incident at all?
did not know who they were.
It was not John Warboys or his friend? It was someone else? Okay.
I did not know who those two gentlemen were, and they were at the other end of the bar with me while I was on the phone, and they proceeded towards the door as I was finishing the call.
Okay. I want to recall Officer Strong. Officer Strong, do you stand by your statement?
Yes, I do.
Thank you.
Okay.
Do you have anything else to say, sir?
no, sir, we do not.
Okay. Well, we got a case of he said, she said, and it sounds like there was something going on the bartender should have been aware of.
Can you call Amy back for a second? Amy, how long did you say this time frame this took place?
From the time that
From the time you hit him with the glass till people left, or till Daniel and you left the bar?
oh gosh, less than a minute. I mean,
Okay.
So it was pretty quick.
the altercation itself was fast, yeah. It was, leading up to that, it was probably, conversations back and forth.
Yeah, 3 or 4 minutes
3
or
or 4
so.
minutes, 5 minutes maybe.
Were those conversations in a civil tone, or were they getting louder?
Well, John Warboys was screaming. at
Was the
one
music
point.
very loud in that place?
Yeah, it was pretty loud.
Question, did you see how the glass was broken? Was it broken against John Warboys or broken against the bar, or?
That part I did not see. I jumped up out of my bar stool and I ran over to the wall and turned around and there was glass on my, I can make assumptions, I would assume.
Okay, we don't want assumptions. Thank
Yeah,
you.
When you,
How many people helped break up the fight?
must have been 5 or 6.
Did
There
you
were quite
see
a few.
cuts on his forehead or his arm?
No, I didn't see
On his
anything.
hand. He had a cut in his hand.
When you left the
Well, Daniel had a cut on
Daniel
his
did,
hand.
yeah.
No, I was talking about John.
Yeah, I didn't see the other gentleman.
When you left the establishment, was the bartender near the disturbance area, or was she still around the other side?
She was near the door at that point
Door.
when
Yes,
we were leaving.
Okay. Any other questions for this? I'm sorry.
When you and your party walked out, there was only the bartender left and Mr. Warboys?
No, there were,
I understood from the bartender that that's what it was.
well, it was,
Mr. Warboys remained.
there was Mr. Warboys, there was myself, Daniel, Dean, another gentleman who I don't know, who had been standing between us, Deborah, and then there must have been probably 3 other people.
Okay.
I don't know any of them.
Were you there?
Or anybody suggest calling the police?
We didn't mention anything at all as we were leaving.
Were you there at the end of the confrontation?
At the end?
Yes. Well, there was a fight,
Right,
and were you there when the fight concluded?
yes.
Is it your recollection that Ms. Rich broke up the fight?
She didn't, she came in after there were several other people that tried to break up the fight. Then she ran over towards the fight and was standing near the door as we were leaving.
So it's your recollection that she saw that there was a confrontation, not at the beginning, but at some point she recognized that the conversation had taken place?
I think that she recognized that there was something that she needed to attend to. I don't think that she saw, because she was on the other side of the bar, on the other end of the bar, 20 feet away or so. I don't know that she saw the altercation itself.
But after the altercation itself, it was clear that something had taken place.
I think there was enough commotion that, there was something that had gone on, and she didn't know what was going on and was just trying to ascertain what the situation was at that point.
So was she at the door to kind of herd people out of the bar? Is that what you were thinking?
Yeah, she said everybody out, it's time to close. So,
Okay, thank you very much. Again, we get the he said, she said. We've got to rely on this police report.
Well, I have a question. There was a citation issued. What was the disposition of that citation? Was
That's really not relevant to us.
Not up to us.
The citation was for the
to notify?
failure to notify the police.
Well, I have a he said, she said. Excuse me, are we into discussion now?
Yes, we are.
I mean, I have a he said, she said, but I have a police officer with an independent report view.
Right.
I have Amy, who supports that the bartender was aware of something took place.
Mm-hmm.
I have the bartender that admitted that she was responsible for everything that takes place in the establishment.
Mm-hmm.
So it's clear that she either was aware of something or should have been aware that it took place.
I hear you.
That's my point also.
I want to ask you, maybe you can answer from there. Was your husband present when you were speaking to the police? No.
Please, if you
Come up, Deborah.
Yes.
Okay.
Actually, because Officer Strong came and asked my husband if he had seen anything, and my husband said, no, he wasn't even there.
But he's not here tonight.
No.
Okay. That's all I have.
Okay.
Sorry.
Okay.
Any other discussion, I wonder?
Well, I think we need to give them some time off here. That's my thoughts.
I'll make
7 days and hold 5 in abeyance.
I would be in favor of that.
I agree. I'll make a motion that based on said finding, I move the International Marketing Corporation,
You have to
known
pick
as
the
Fat
days.
Frog, be suspended for 7 days with 5 days held in abeyance. The notice of such suspension be posted outside the licensed premises in accordance with Liquor Code Regulation 47-600F, and the suspension begins on 1st of May, 2009.
Okay.
I second the motion.
Would you poll the authority, please? I agree.
Yes.
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 Okay. Next item, 9B, All Spirits Incorporated, doing business as Total Wine and Liquor, 6901 South Broadway.
Thank you, Chairman. On March 11th, this authority found probable cause to believe that the establishment had violated...
Could you speak into the mic,
Oh,
please?
twice.
Sorry.
It violated Colorado Liquor Code 1247, TAC 901, Parent 1, Parent A, unlawful acts, which in pertinent parts prohibits the sale to visibly intoxicated persons, and the Littleton Municipal Ordinance 3, TAC 2, TAC 10, Parent F, which in pertinent part also provides, also prohibits the sale to intoxicated persons. The authority has been given the exhibits: Exhibit A, the proof of publication and hearing; Exhibit B, the certified letter to licensee regarding the show cause hearing; and Exhibit C, the liquor authority communication with the attachments for this show cause hearing. Officer Geiser is present and was a first-person witness and issued the citation. So if we can introduce the exhibits, then the city would move to bring Officer Geiser before the authority.
Okay.
I'll make a motion, Exhibit A through C be entered into the record.
Thank you, Officer Geiser.
Can you get a second?
I'll second.
All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Okay, it's unanimous. Thank you. Officer Geiser, would you state your name for the record, please?
Officer Jenny Geiser, Geiser.
Thank you.
Thank you, Officer Geiser. I'm going to turn your attention to February 27th of this year at 17:05 hours, 5 p.m., and if you could explain to the authority what you're doing at that time and what you observed.
On that specific date and time, I was conducting routine patrol in the area of West Ridge Road and South Broadway. I was actually stationary at the red traffic light eastbound West Ridge Road at South Broadway. While I was at that traffic light, I observed a male walking northbound on the west side of Broadway, which would have been from the south side of Ridge, crossing the street in front of me, continuing to the north side of Ridge. I observed that male stumble several times and appear to have difficulty walking. I actually had anticipated him falling in front of my patrol vehicle. He did not do that, but it did appear that he had the opportunity to do that. I continued to watch the male continue northbound on Ridge. I clearly needed to investigate that. So I did not pull out onto Broadway to do a U-turn. I actually backed my vehicle up into the parking lot of the shopping center, which is where the liquor store is located. I went around the west side of the liquor store in anticipating of contacting the male near the El Perel, which is just north of the liquor store. As I was pulling up through the driveway to Broadway to contact the male, I observed him cut through the grass down and actually walk into the liquor store. So I pulled my car back around to the parking lot of the liquor store, exited my vehicle, and went inside the liquor store. By the time I had gotten inside the liquor store, I observed the male, matching the same description of the gentleman that I saw stumbling in front of my car, at the counter. There was actually a brown paper bag placed in front of him, and I believe he was putting some change in his pocket. So I called the individual out, and as he was approaching me, which is just a couple of feet away, I got a very strong odor of an alcoholic beverage on his breath. So we exited the store together, and as I made closer contact with him, I did observe that he had bloodshot, watery eyes and very slurred speech. I had asked him how much he had to drink. He indicated that he had too much to drink, and I saw that inside the brown paper bag that I'd seen on the counter was actually a glass bottle of alcohol. So I asked the gentleman, who identified himself as Daryl Mock, and he provided me a Colorado identification card at that time. I asked him where he lived. He pointed across the street, and I asked him if there was a sober party who could come and get him. He indicated that there wasn't anybody at his house. I am obligated now for this individual because he did appear very intoxicated, so I had to make arrangements for him to be transported to detox because he didn't have anyone to care for him. And I also issued him a citation for intoxicated pedestrian on a roadway. I had another officer transport Mr. Mock to the detox area, and after he left the scene, I went inside and contacted the individual who I saw conduct the transaction with Mr. Mock, and then also the owner of the store came out and spoke to me as well. I spoke to both of those gentlemen who are sitting right behind me here, and they both gave me an indication that they did not observe that he was intoxicated, thus they actually conducted the transaction. Now, Tony indicated to me that he had refused service to Mr. Mock on 2 previous occasions because of apparent intoxication. They both gave me the indication that he was not intoxicated. They did not observe that he was intoxicated. I didn't issue a citation at that time. I did indicate that a report would be given to the liquor board.
Just for clarification, officer, the Tony that you referred to, that's the owner of the store?
Correct.
And the other individual is the one who actually conducted the transaction, that's Mr. Perkins?
That's
Paskins?
correct. Yes, that's correct.
Okay.
Okay, any questions for this officer? Thank you.
Very complete, thank you. That's the city's presentation, Mr. Chairman.
Okay. Do we have a representative from Total Wines and Liquors? Would you state your name for the record, please?
Certainly, Chairman. My name is Tony Leopard.
Would you spell it, please?
Last name is spelled Leopard, just like the cat.
Okay.
First of all, I want to apologize for wasting everybody's time here tonight.
Well, it's not a waste of time.
Well, I feel that it was something that should have been avoided and absolutely shouldn't have happened. And while being the license holder of the store and the manager and owner of the store, I just don't take this kind of thing lightly, never have, never will. And after 4 years of not having any sort of a blemish on my record, I now have one that I never intended to get. So that's probably the reason for my apology. But our position, or my position in this, basically is fairly simple. As Officer Geiser indicated, and by the way, Officer Geiser did her job in a totally professional manner the entire time she was there that evening, and made it as painless as possible, and yet explained to us what the process was and why she did what she did and what she was able to observe. And I believe that our situation was that we didn't have that benefit of that observance. We had a 45-second to a minute opportunity during the time frame that Darrell would have walked through the door, grabbed a single beer from a cooler that is 5 feet inside the door, and then proceed the additional 15 feet to a register and pay for that item and then go to leave. All told, Officer Geiser might be able to corroborate that the time between she saw him walking in the store and the time he was walking back out should have, I would believe, to be roughly 60 seconds. During that time, and in the past when we have seen Darrell, when he's had too much, we know, and we tell him no. That's all there is to it. I stopped him from making ingress over the threshold of the front door because I have seen him walking through the parking lot in a manner that's made it clear.
But you didn't watch him that day?
I did not get the opportunity to watch him that day. At 5:05 on that particular afternoon, we were during the peak of our volume. That's no excuse. We have to evaluate every customer, whether we're busy or slow, and I understand that. However, he was in for such a short time, and quite frankly, I believe what the trick bag I fell into here was the fact that Darrell, having been cut off and told explicitly not to enter the store, had he had too much alcohol, I believe did very good to conceal it. I think he was on his absolute best behavior for that 60-second period. And as I told Officer Geiser after we'd stepped outside the store, and I saw how he was responding to her and the disrespect and the slurring of speech that I didn't get to experience inside the store during the sale. Had I had the benefit of...
So you didn't talk to him at all when he bought the beer or whatever? He just put the beer on the counter and put the money up there and then was heading out the door?
I'm pretty sure we decided that there were virtually no words spoken other than
Would you
the
identify
change
yourself,
transaction to explain to him.
Would you identify yourself,
I'm
please?
sorry,
I'm Forrest Paskins.
P-A-S-K-I-N-S. Thank you, sir.
Did you detect an odor of alcohol on him?
No.
How do you determine whether or not you should sell to a person or not?
Their character,
What do you mean by that?
how they conduct themselves, how they speak, just their character.
Do you look in their eyes at all?
Mm-hmm.
And you didn't see no bloodshot eyes, no?
No.
Did he speak to you at all?
Just asked me what he wanted.
But when they slur in his voice or?
No.
Well, now, was there any verbal interaction at all?
Just what he had asked for and how much it was.
There was, he had to ask for the half pint of Kentucky Deluxe bourbon that the officer's report indicates was found in his front pocket.
And you did sell him the bourbon and the beer?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
And there was?
That he did have to ask for. And I actually grabbed the product off the shelf because I was standing a foot away from Forrest as he was asked for it. I was closer to the product. Forrest would have basically had to climb over me to get it. So I reached up, grabbed it, sat it down on the counter. He then turned around, scanned it, and put it in front of Daryl. Daryl did ask for that half pint of Kentucky Deluxe, and I do not recall. I mean, we understood what he asked for and immediately grabbed it. And had I thought he had slurred his speech or if he'd become unintelligible, I would have had that indication.
You mentioned that you turned him down on another occasion when he tried to buy liquor because he was intoxicated. Was that one time or several times that you did that?
Several times.
Several
I
times.
personally have done it twice. After this incident, it was found that he had, all told, we believe, to be an estimated 6 times refused service.
Do you realize that the liquor code states, and I quote, 12-47-901, parent 1A, unlawful acts, which provides it unlawful for any person to sell, serve, give away, dispose of, exchange, or deliver, or permit the sale, serving, giving, or procuring of any alcohol beverage to or for any person under the age of 21 to a visibly intoxicated person or to a known habitual drunkard.
Yes, sir.
What steps do you think you could take to prevent this from happening in the future?
In Daryl's case, Daryl's been 86th from the store, and that was the most immediate corrective action I could take to address this particular person. Obviously, brought the entire thing to a forefront for the entire staff to be reminded of the severity of this kind of situation.
Is your staff tips trained?
They are not. We have not applied for any tasting in premise, and so
Yeah,
I understand the benefit of the training. Don't
Right.
mistake me. As a matter of fact, listening to several of the proceedings here earlier sparked, the thought. There is some time and cost involved, but I do understand the importance of it and what it's meant to accomplish in terms of training the server to.
Do you plan on applying
Yes.
for tips training?
Yes, I do. Because I will have to in order to be able to apply for a tasting license anyway, and it was a plan and something we intended to do.
Do you believe the code was violated?
Yes.
Thank you for being honest.
I wish I could say different. I feel that we're very consistent about how we evaluate people, but I do feel that, there's someone's going to try to fly under the radar, and it's our job to make sure that radar goes low enough to catch them, and there's no arguing that.
Does anybody have anything else? Any more questions for, any comments? Thank you. I appreciate Mr. Leopold's stepping up to this.
Well, I mean, there's,
And he has,
the question is, should we require any training?
Well, it's me. The only other thing that I had wanted to point out, whether you were aware of it or not, I have made several copies of a letter that I just recently received from the City of Littleton regarding a compliance check that was conducted back on November 25th.
Okay.
I actually made 5 copies there. I'm sure I had it.
I wrote that letter.
During that evening of compliance checks, I can tell you that we were tested 5 times in 1 hour by 5 different minors and passed all 5 compliance checks in that hour. I can also add that over the time, 4 years I've been there, I know that we've been checked at least a dozen times for tobacco compliance, and we have passed that every time as well and have no violations.
Okay.
Can I ask you one question? I don't know if you answered this, but I'm looking at some of the mitigating factors, and I'm wondering, how long have you held the liquor license?
I have just passed my 4-year anniversary at that
year.
store on March 13th, so it's been 4 years that I've been the owner of that store.
And have you ever held any other liquor licenses and had any other complaints or?
To answer your first question, no, I have not had a liquor license and held one prior to this one, and so therefore no violations.
Okay. And in terms of corrective action, you said you met with the staff and tried to alert them to be more vigilant. Would that be a good word?
Very, very accurate. We routinely, Mr. Mock was far from the only person that we would not and have refused service to over the time, and by far the most notorious, certainly with this incident included. However, every other case that we've ever had, there was immediately an understanding, and those people, some of them never shopped with us again. Some did. But we haven't really changed anything in terms of how we're doing it. We have refused service to people on an average of, we began to figure out 3 to 4 times per month in the entire 4 years that we've been there. So we've refused service many more times than I think maybe a lot of stores would, because we take it very seriously, and we feel we have the ability to evaluate it, and the employees need to be reminded of it. So that's what brought that reminder and training back and gave us the opportunity to cover it with them again.
Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you, sir.
Thank you. I think the history speaks very well for itself.
Well, I think so, too. I agree.
And I appreciate very much the fact that he stepped forward and accepted it.
But and even it's so for us to do due diligence and make sure it doesn't happen again, I'm going to suggest a suspension of 5 days to be held in abeyance, in addition to schedule tips training within the next 30 days. I'll make it 90 days because tips training, I know it's hard to get in. Okay. Anybody have any comments about that?
Well, you're saying?
All 5 in abeyance, yeah.
For a year?
For a year, for 1 year from today, right? And I'll make a motion to that effect. I move that the authority find that All Spirits LLC, doing business as Total Wine and Liquor, 6901 South Broadway, Littleton, Arapahoe County, Colorado, did violate Colorado Revised Statute 12-47901 1A and the Littleton Municipal Ordinance 3-2-10F. Based on said findings, I move that All Spirits LLC, doing business as Total Wine and Liquors, 6901 South Broadway, liquor license be suspended for 5 days, and for all 5 days to be held in abeyance for 1 year from today, and that they be required that within 90 days to schedule tips training for their managers to be handed down to their employees. Can I get a second to that?
Within 90 days. I second.
Within 90 days to schedule the tips training.
We have a second.
Yeah, I second.
Okay, would you poll the authority, please, Rochelle? Yes.
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 No.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. And if you would contact the city clerk's office when you do get that tips training, yeah, just contact Rochelle when you have it scheduled. You have 90 days to schedule it, and they generally take them 3 to 6 months to get it scheduled for you.
But as long as it's been scheduled and we're on our
Right, then you're in good graces with us. And thank you for being so honest about it. Okay. And hopefully we never see you again.
I won't take that personally.
All right. All right, last one, item 9C. Santa Fe Tequila Company South LLC doing business in Santa Fe Tequila Company, 2630 West Bellevue Avenue, Suite 150.
On March 11, 2009, the authority found probable cause to believe that the establishment had violated Colorado Liquor Code 12, TAC 47, TAC 301, Parent 3, Parent B, licensing in general, which provides that the licensee shall possess and maintain possession of the premises where the license is issued by ownership. Now, the Exhibit A, the proof of publication and hearing, the Exhibit B, certified letter to the licensee regarding show cause. There's Exhibit C, the liquor authority communication with attachments for the show cause hearing. These provide a little bit of a history, which includes a letter from our own Ms. Work to the licensee, and she can actually, once the exhibits are entered, provide further information to the authority about this particular licensee situation.
So basically, the situation is that they're not in business, they don't have a valid lease, and they still have a liquor license.
That's correct. I think that the original licensees had some communication with Ms. Work about it.
Is there any new developments on this since the last time we spoke about it?
No, they just, I talked to him again about it and went through explaining everything to him again, and he won't surrender it. He's under the assumption that in turning the property back over to the property owner, that he was giving them the liquor license. Well, they've made it clear to us at the last hearing they don't want it.
They don't want it.
Nor can they take it because there's nobody operating the business. And he's been given letters and emails and phone calls with the form to surrender the license, and he keeps saying he's going to do that, but he just there's no one operating in there. It's empty.
And when does it expire?
It doesn't expire until June, I believe.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
From a city standpoint, if we were to revoke this license, this is a record that goes with this individual into the future, rather than for him to surrender the license, which would not be a mark on his record. This would be. Is that correct?
To some extent, yes, sir. I mean, this is all written down. It's recorded for some time in the future. If he were to apply again in front of this authority, he certainly would be.
Well, not necessarily this authority, anywhere in the state.
Yes, sir.
You believe he was fully aware that we were having a hearing today on it?
Oh, yes. I talked to him. We had the last hearing March 12th.
Mm-hmm.
I talked to him March 13th because he wanted to know what happened. He had talked to the gentleman that was here from
The owner.
the property owner. And it was like I had never even spoken to him. He just asked all the same questions again, and I explained it all to him again, and I said, would you like me to email you the letter over and the form that you need to do to surrender your license? Yeah, that would be good. That's what I'll do. And that's the last I heard. So.
Okay. And you did forward it, email it to him?
I did. I have a copy of it here if you need to see it.
That's fine. I trust you.
I'll make a motion, unless you want to discuss it.
We should introduce the exhibits as well, because that's...
Yeah, okay. Yeah, we've got exhibits
A through C.
A through C.
That's the motion I was going to make.
Okay. Well, go ahead and make that motion.
So we introduce Exhibit A through C into the record.
I second.
All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? No opposition. Okay, what we have here is receipts of certified mail from the city clerk's office to Santa Fe Tequila Company, and a notice that of the letter that was sent, and I think it's pretty obvious they don't care. They're not interested.
Well, the bottom line is this is a show cause hearing, and they didn't show.
They didn't show, so they don't have any cause to keep their license.
I'll make a motion that the authority find that Santa Fe Tequila Company South LLC, DBA Santa Fe Tequila Company South, 2630 West Bellevue Avenue, Suite 150, Littleton, Arapahoe County, Colorado, did violate CRS 12-47-3013B. Based on said findings, I move the Santa Fe Tequila Company South LLC, DBA Santa Fe Tequila Company South, 2630 West Bellevue Avenue, Suite 150, liquor license be revoked.
I second that motion. you poll the authority, please?
Authority Member Gallagher?
Yes, I agree.
Authority Member Radish?
Yes.
Authority Member Toll?
Yes.
Authority Member Moon?
Yes.
Authority Member Price?
Okay. Next item of business, general business. I have no general business. Any reports from the staff? Do we have any reports from the authority members? And I have a report from the chairperson. And this meeting